The most famous event and prestigious win of the World Rally Championship is the Rallye Monte Carlo. Since 1911, the Monte has always posed challenges unique to the French Alps in January. Changing weather conditions vary from sunny and dry to blizzard-like in a blink of an eye. Here, tire choice is crucial and often decides the outcome. The Monte marks the traditional start of the rally season. 2003 once again sees new driver lineups add yet another variable to the question. Today, every team begins with a clean slate, but in the end, only one will be victorious. Who has the medal to conquer the Monte? The 2003 World Rally Championship season starts right here, right now, on Speed. Welcome to the 2003 World Rally Championship. We're going to take you on an unforgettable journey to 14 countries on 4 continents. That's the arena for the fastest, toughest, roughest, most perilous clash of man and machine against the elements. It's 3 days of hard driving where skill, stamina, and strength are the keys to surviving the most hostile environments on Earth. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen, and this is the World Rally Championship 2003. A new season, and Marcus Grönholm is a new world champion, and the target everyone's gunning for as they battled out for this year's title. It all kicks off here in the glitz and glamour of Monte Carlo. This is the oldest and most prestigious round of the championship. The Monte has been thrilling crowd since 1911, and this is the one that everyone wants to win. The action takes place high in the Alps, where a savage winter has taken hold, and heavy snowfalls in the last few days mean this year's rally promises to be the most treacherous in years. This event is not for the faint of heart. Sandwiched between the mountains and the sea on France's southern coast, there's 3 days of fierce competition on closed roads called stages, shown here in yellow, where drivers race against the clock. The one who completes the stages in the fastest time is the winner and collects the maximum 10 points. This year, the point system is brand new. From now on, the top 8 finishers will score, but the news hasn't been well received by everyone.
For me, it's not good. The winner should get more points than the second one. Now it's only 2 points difference. But okay, we have to go like this.
It's no wonder Grönholm's grumbling. The old point system meant he ran away with last year's driver's title and helped Peugeot to their 3rd consecutive manufacturer's championship. Grönholm snatched the world crown from his teammate Richard Burns, who knows he has a fight on his hands if he wants that title back.
I don't see anybody else to be able to be as consistent and as fast over the whole championship. I think there's a possibility that on a few rallies, for example here in Monte Carlo, that the Subarus I think are going to go very well. But overall, you would have to say that the package that Marcus has is the strongest one.
French rival Citroen might have something to say about that. They start their first full season in the WRC with a lineup that reads like a who's who of rallying. Colin McRae and Carlos Sainz have an incredible 49 World Rally wins between them, and they join rising star Sebastian Loeb.
All the team need experience, me too, and they can bring us, so I think it's very good.
You know, I feel very confident after the shakedown. The car feels really good.
Are you entertaining any possibility of winning the World Rally Championship this year?
For sure, yeah, definitely.
There was shocking news from Carlos Sainz, who joined Citroen minus co-driver Luis Moya, breaking a formidable 15-year partnership. Mark Martin now has a task of filling Luis's shoes. The departure of Colin and Carlos leaves Ford with the youngest driver lineup ever. At just 27 years of age, Marco Martin is a team leader, and he starts the season looking for his first win. If you think Marco's young, what about teammates Francois Duval and Mikko Hirvonen? They're both just 22. Subaru start the brand new season with a brand new car. They're hoping a state-of-the-art spoiler, changes to the suspension and engine will give Tommy Mäkinen and Petter Solberg a championship-winning car.
Well, confidence is very high, but for Monte Carlo Rally, I don't know. It's a very lottery rally, and you just have to keep down and not to have too much confidence on this.
4 consecutive wins makes Tommy Mäkinen the master of the Monte. Even though he's been at the top for years, he's still hungry for success.
It was just an interview with Finnish TV. Nothing has changed. I haven't decided anything. There's no pressure from anywhere. This I don't think about that. I don't think about it at the moment. I just concentrate for the season, and I try to do this season as well as possible.
Hyundai were thrilled with their 4th place finish in the manufacturer's race last year, but are optimistic of even better results. Once more, the task falls to Armin Schwartz and Freddie Loix. Finally, Skoda have underlined their commitment to the WRC, a 3-year plan, and they have persuaded 1994 world champ Didier Auriol to come out of retirement, and he's happy about the deal.
Skoda called me and we have a very good feeling, and the challenge feel interesting, new car to develop, you know. So it's why I take the decision to sign, but of course if Skoda was proposed me a season only with Octavia with no future, I will stay home.
He joins regular Tony Gardemeister. You won't be seeing any Mitsubishis this weekend. They've decided to run a limited schedule and plan to return with a vengeance in 2004. So that's how they'll line up when we come back. Nikki Christ and Penny Mallory join us with an update on the latest conditions. Stay with us. Welcome back to Speed Channel's coverage of the Monte Carlo Rally, round number 1 of this year's World Rally Championship. Now, stage 1 for this year's Monte Carlo Rally looks like it's going to be cold and icy. Nothing unusual there, making the start very tricky. While the road is typically very quick and wide, it does pass through some very tight villages. With more on what we can expect from today, let's check in with our speed crew on site. Here's Penny Mallory and Nikki Grist.
Hello and welcome to Monte Carlo and round 1 of the World Rally Championship. Now joining me is Nikki Grist, one of the most successful co-drivers of all time. Down here in the harbour in Monte Carlo, Nikki, it's beautiful blue sky and sunshine, but it's nothing like that up on the stages.
Totally different. We have a lot of ice and snow up there, and chatting with Colin McRae last night, he tells me that almost every stage is going to be a spiked tyre choice.
Now, what impact does that have on the rally then?
Well, you've got a situation in dry tarmac roads where the more powerful and the more agile car will always outperform everything else. But here, when the conditions are so slippery, these back runners are almost going to be coming up front and setting as quicker times because it takes that advantage away.
So it levels the playing field for all the cars and the teams.
Most definitely.
Now, Carlos Sainz and Colin McRae both moved to Citroen this year. What chance have Citroen got here?
Again, I think it's a lottery. Most definitely they're going to be challenging, and if the stages do dry out, I think we'll see them moving up the leaderboard. But I feel that possibly Tommy Mäkinen with Subaru is going to be a real front runner, and we'll have to wait for Citroen later in the year to show us really what they can do.
Well, Tommy Mäkinen's won the last 4 Monte Carlo rallies. Yep. Petter Solberg, his teammate, has just won his first rally at the end of last year in Great Britain, so they're going to be on good form. They're going to be competitive.
Most definitely, and I would say watch out for stage 5 and 6 of this event because it's the longest stage of the rally, and Tommy has been exceptionally quick there in the past. Don't be surprised if he's 30 or 40 seconds up on everybody else at the finish.
Really?
It's been like that in the past. He's been exceptionally quick there and won the event on that stage alone.
Wow. Now last year we saw Peugeot dominate pretty much the whole year. I wonder in Monte Carlo if they can maintain that dominance.
Of course they'll want to, but I don't think it's going to be that way at all. Gilles Panizzi, obviously a tarmac expert. The guy actually eats tarmac for breakfast, but here he's got ice and snow to contend with, so there's no way that he's going to be able to perform as well as he has done in the past.
Now the Ford team have elected for youth over experience. How's that going to affect them in Monte Carlo?
It's going to be difficult. I would say that Marco Martin has got the better chances of anybody. He's got a lot of experience, and of course he's used to the ice and snow from his hometown in Estonia. Francois Duval, okay, he's a young gun, very quick, but these conditions could be difficult for him. And okay, the young Finn is just out to learn, basically.
Experience counts for a lot out here, doesn't it?
Most definitely.
Now, when you move further down the order, you've got the likes of Hyundai and Skoda. How will they get on?
I think they've got a good chance of setting some quickest times. It would be great to see them get on the podium, or either of them on the podium, which will set their year up perfectly. But I think just a good solid finish at this part of the season would be great.
So with all that ice and snow on the mountains of Monte Carlo, this is set to be one of the most unpredictable rallies of the season.
All right, guys, thanks. Sub-zero temperatures overnight, in fact, did mean stage one was like an ice skating rink, but it was a baptism of fire for world champ Marcus Grönholm. The message was loud and clear to his rivals as he skated around the 17.3-mile stage to set the quickest time. And what a way to start off a title defense. Richard Burns has made no secret of the fact he's desperate to get that number one back from his teammate, but he could not match Marcus's times. Grönholm's closest rival was Subaru's Petter Solberg. The Norwegian hurtled around the stage in the brand new Impreza to go second fastest and 4.2 seconds behind the leader. This particular stage was last used on the Monte 3 years ago. On that occasion, Colin McRae was the pace setter. Maybe a new year and a new team for the 95 World Champ. The Scot was all smiles this morning, and he made a positive start, going third fastest in the Citroen with his teammates Carlos Sainz and Sebastian Loeb right on his tail. Tommy Mäkinen is out to get his record 5th win this weekend, but the former world champ stalled at the start, costing himself 7 seconds. Nicky Grist takes a closer look at his problem.
Let's go back to the start and let's have a look at Tommy's telemetry from his car. From the start of the stage, only 100 meters and he's already in 4th gear. With the small restrictor in these engines, it gives them a lot of power low down. Max torque around about 6,000 RPM. Into 6th gear, it's incredible how strong these engines are.
Gilles Panizzi was one of the pre-event favorites. That's a safe bet considering the Frenchman is practically rallying in his backyard this weekend. The Asphalt Ace has had nothing but problems so far. The combination of the wrong tires and some rare clumsy cornering cost him almost a minute. His chance of a win now almost impossible. Another man with tire worries was Marco Martin, who was driving on Michelin's for the first time, leaving Ford's leading car way back in 8th. 8th is now a points position, however, but making the early claim for the maximum 10 is Grönholm. With a lot of work to do is Tommy Mäkinen, half a minute behind the leader. While a disastrous start for Gilles Panizzi, who incurred a time penalty for a recce infringement and is placed at the bottom of our leaderboard. Like the roads, we've only just begun to get warmed up. Can anyone challenge Marcus Grönholm this season? Stick around with us here on Speed, the home of the World Rally Championship. Monte Carlo Stage 2, and once again, Nicky Grist takes an in-depth look.
This is stage 2 and 4, Selenet to Brezier. A slight variation on this stage from last year. A lot of ice and snow, making it very, very slippery and quite treacherous. Has caught a lot of drivers out in the past. Just look here as Tommy Mäkinen slides straight on into a deep ditch in 1998. It finishes very fast over fields. Quite a tricky stage. I think anything is possible in here.
Tricky or not, Marcus Grönholm seemed to be running on rails. The Finn was cool as ice as he flew around stage 2, leaving his rivals in the snowy dust. He set a scorching time that was nearly 30 seconds faster than anyone else. It's not just the car or the tire choice, it's the confidence of the world champ that makes him so tough to beat. One driver laying down a challenge was Colin McRae. He always claims he doesn't like the Monte, but he always goes very well here, and 2003 is no exception. Even in a brand new car, the Scott's message was clear as he moved in front of Petter Solberg to steal second place. Contrast that with teammate Carlos Sainz. Despite a wealth of experience here at the Monte, he proved it can still bite back in particularly icy conditions. The Spaniard smacked into the rock wall and spun, damaging the suspension. Listen in as Petter Solberg approaches the same challenging corner.
Right, the 2 left half long, tightens narrow, bad ice. Keep in the bad ice half, 2 right minus, opens flat 6, dry. 14. Ice, early flat 6.
The Norwegian got away lightly.
Ice opens 80, slow line is unseen, 2 left, bad ice, water inside. Tightens 1 plus, tightens, opens half long, 80.
Hyundai's Freddie Loix has never had much luck on this event. He opened stage 2 with a gentle spin, but recovered.
Links 80, 100. Even rechts links. 100. Even rechts links. Oké, rechts 72 plus. Even rechts links. Oké, rechts 72 plus. Om 100. Om 100. Links lang, sluit naar 90 diep couperen sporen. Links lang, sluit naar 90 diep couperen sporen. En links 90 laden diep couperen sporen. En links 90 laden diep couperen sporen. 150 opgepast ijs. Rechts sluit naar, direct naar 53. 150 opgepast ijs.
Then the Belgian gets another scare, running wide into a field.
Rechts naar direct naar 53. Om links af voor. Dus opgepast ijs.
Another look from outside and you can see Loix locked it up, runs wide and then powers back onto the road.
Oh, he's off. Hey!
Nervous moment for the photographer. French privateer Cedric Robert was going great, running in the top 10. Even despite the fact that he followed Freddie's line, he managed to hold on to his position. As you can hear, it wasn't a clash with the scenery that brought Tony Gardemeister's rally to an early end. The Finn started on 3 cylinders after blowing the turbo on his Octavia. He eventually was forced to retire, the first Monte victim. That leaves Skoda's hopes resting on the shoulders of Didier Auriol, who's back in the driver's seat after a year away. Another blistering stage by Grunhall means he's well out in front. McRae's still chasing, but there's a big challenge ahead for 6th place Richard Burns if he's to join the fight. Two stages down, and the crews are ready for a much-needed service.
Marcus, are you surprised to be leading?
Yes, a little bit, because the lead is so big and I couldn't understand the times.
How are those first 2 stages? Very tricky?
They were quite tricky, yes. It was ice and snow and some slippy places.
Colin, new team, new car. You seem to have really risen to this challenge.
Yeah, it's going well at the moment. Everything's very comfortable. No problems, no scary moments. So I'm quite happy.
We lost so much to Marcus. I think I tried to drive, try to be clever, but I think he just went for it, and he took quite a lot of time there.
Gilles, j'enlève la vis. Ah, attends.
Not really big moment, but enough to lose quite a lot of time. Just spun. I couldn't turn around the car because it was very icy. Stalled lane a couple of times, but typical from.
Welcome back to a Monte Carlo rally that's already seen its fair share of drama due to the unpredictable winter conditions. The Monte is an asphalt event with a twist, as Nicky Grist explains.
Monte Carlo, historically an event that's been won on a single tyre choice. An asphalt event with a big difference, a lot of ice and snow. The correct choice is absolutely crucial. Get it wrong and you lose a lot of time. Get it very wrong and it's the next flight home.
The tyre choice will be the main factor here.
definitely it's going to be very, very tough to make sure we have the right tyre choice, the least wrong tyre choice.
This year it seems like it's going to be a normal Monte Carlo, and that means you spend most of the time on wrong tyres, and that's not much fun to drive actually.
There's a wide choice of tyres. Slicks for dry, intermediates for wet, a mixed tyre with studs for ice and snow, and an out-and-out snow option. It's always difficult to choose the ultimate choice, but when it's a slick they need to be pre-warmed in heated tyre blankets.
The gravel crews will relate the information back to the driver and co-driver as well as to myself, giving me the condition actually as it is on the ground when they go through. If we have a changeable weather condition and it actually starts snowing at the time, that's where the weather crews become vitally important, because they're in the stage as we are actually putting the tyres on the car.
We have to measure carefully percentage of dry and ice and wet, whatever it, and with good luck and a little bit of risk, you can make a good time or either complete disaster.
Monte Carlo and Sweden are the only two rallies where studded tires are actually allowed. Perhaps Marcus Grönholm relaxed too much at service because for the first time in this year's rally, he didn't win the stage. That, of course, left the door wide open for the chasing pack to close up. The Michelin D10 seems to be the key tire here this weekend. It's a snow and asphalt combination tire. Its narrow dimensions give confidence to attack on snow and ice, while it's still just wide enough for high performance on the clear asphalt. How confident is Marcus Grönholm? Do you notice a quick wave to the fans?
7, oikea laita vasen eri, oikea täys, 100, tumppu, 120 ja oikea eri, jouhea sumppu.
Local lad Sebastian Loeb, meanwhile, was on the gas.
Et droite 90 moins, droite 90 moins, et sur gauche 140 moins, gauche 140 moins, ouvre et droite 130 bon, droite 130 bon sur gauchy, gauchy sur droite.
The impressive Frenchman drove with skill and determination to win the stage.
Ok, sur droite 120 bon.
There would need to be a Monte Carlo miracle if Tommi Mäkinen is to take a record 5th victory. The Finn lost his front brakes and was over a minute slower than Loeb. That's lifetime in rally.
Kostee loppu. Saatana. Oikea eri aukeaa 3.
On board now with Colin McRae and Derek Ringer. The two Scots proved they were fitting in nicely at Citroen. They were second overall after the first two stages. After a couple of scares, Colin still finished the stage third. Grönholm is still way ahead of the rest of the field. Despite his quick time, however, Loeb remains in the same position. It's a familiar story from last year with Grönholm winning stage after stage, and this test was no exception. The Finn hurtled through the stage to claim the honors, leaving everybody behind. Now watch this as Marcus comes around this right-hand bend. There's a group of spectators off to his right, and you're going to see something we've never seen out of Marcus Grönholm last year. He waves again, and he even smiles. That's not the Marcus Grönholm with the focus of last year. Once again, the ever-quick, ever-consistent Petter Solberg drove to the limit, desperate to catch Grönholm, but he pushed too hard, slid wide, and smashed through the guardrail. Fortunately, he continued, but the damage was done, and he was lucky to make it to service. Solberg's grit and determination paid off. He finished the stage second quickest.
33 plus left long, ice. 43 minus
Marco Martin had a scary moment on the stage. So did the tree. This is the first Monte for Francois Duval in a WRC car, so the Belgian youngster is feeling his way on one of the most difficult events on the calendar. Kept out of trouble until just 3 kilometers from the end of the stage when he slid wide.
Là ici, il ouvre, 25 mètres frein.
Tree wasn't wasn't so lucky that time. Maybe the Fords are missing the experience of McRae. On board, Colin McRae.
Into 6 left minus.
But even Colin can get it wrong. That cost Scott almost half a minute to Grunholm. Hot at McRae's heels was his old buddy Richard Burns in the battle between the top two British drivers in French cars. McRae has stood out so far on this event, but Burns is creeping up and breathing down the Scots' neck. It's a feeling of deja vu with Marcus Grunholm out in front. French star Loeb has mastered the icy conditions and moves in front of his more experienced teammate.
Head to the car's looking a bit sorry for itself. What happened?
Well, actually, I had 5 kilometers per hour and I just had everything under control and then just hit the ice and hit the pole on the bridge and I was hanging out and just dipping and I was stopped for maybe 20 seconds and then I couldn't start it properly and I went back again and just went flat out.
The Subaru mechanics had to repair the front of Solberg's car. It took 4 minutes longer than the 20 minutes allowed, and the unlucky Norwegian got a time penalty.
What happened on stage 4?
We had a half spin and stalled the engine. Couldn't get reverse gear, so you just dropped so much time.
We are only 4 stages in and already plenty of action. At the beginning of the show, Nicky told us Stage 5 historically is the most challenging. Stay tuned, it's up next here on Speed. Welcome back to Stage 5 of the Rallye Monte Carlo. As Nicky Grist tells us, it's a stage with quite a reputation.
The start of Stage 5 has a history of incidents. Look at this carnage from 1999. I wonder what it has in store for us this year.
This year, Stage 5 actually has far less snow than the 4 previous stages. That helped Sebastian Loeb blast his way through the longest test of the rally to claim his second stage win. His confidence is on a high with slick tires, and it was enough to take a 20-second chunk out of Marcus Grunholm's lead. He then was also on a charge and clearly pushing to the limit. This moment shows how vulnerable the lead is. But he did make it to the end of the stage.
I hit the barrier of the bridge. It was slippy and water. I came too fast on the bridge and
No wave there. Carlos Sainz, meanwhile, had his own little excursion. Despite that incident, he still managed to claim second on the stage. Armin Schwartz was next on the list, bouncing his Hyundai Accent around the mountain scenery, all with amazing car control. Look at how fast those hands are. Subaru's worst nightmare became a reality on Stage 5. The treacherous conditions pushed Petter Solberg's brand new Subaru right over the edge.
5 right minus, tightens over bridge. 16, wet and slippy, line into 4 right minus, tightens 2.
Well, I came down the road and I have just slippery in my pace notes. And I just understeered a little bit and I hit the bridge and then I broke everything. But everybody else that I've been watching here have done the same, but I'm the one who's left here.
Meanwhile, Tommy Mäkinen suffered the same fate, knocked out of the competition. With both cars out, the Subaru mechanics packed up to head home. The team, meanwhile, reflected on poor tire choice.
A lot of the drivers have talked about tyre choice being a gamble during this rally. Did your drivers gamble and get it wrong?
No, not as far as we know. I mean, we don't know the whole story yet from the stage of who's taken what tyres and where they've gained and lost, but we didn't consider it a sort of a difficult tyre choice. I think all the drivers are on similar tyres, but as I say, we don't know the whole story yet.
It was what they recommend for us. I was thinking something else, and I was pretty sure what we should have, but they recommend that one, and everybody pushed it too hard to have it, and then I thought, okay, I go for that, but it was a mistake.
Not a good start to the year.
No, we came here, Monte Carlo, we said it would be champagne or tears, and it looks like it's tears.
Sounds like there's going to be a pretty serious conference call about that tire choice. Well, Nicky said stage 5 would be make or break. Let's recap the carnage. First, Marcus Grönholm had trouble.
Oikein osuuko se pitkä eri tiukka. Tiedä.
And Carlos Sainz. Armin Schwartz gave us some good video. And the ever-quotable Petter Solberg.
Tightens of a bridge. 16, wet and slippy. Line into 4 right minus, tightens 2.
Of course, the luckless Tommy Mäkinen. Hey, stay with us. When we come back, we got another variable to throw into all this: rallying at night. Welcome back to Monte Carlo. Here's Nicky Grist with a look at a unique stage in the World Rally Championship.
Stage 6, the second run through Band of Controls. This is one of the few stages run in darkness in the championship. Time to fit the spotlights. A maximum of 6 are allowed, a total output of 23,000 watts. That is 380 domestic light bulbs. Although difficult to appreciate on these shots, the lights are fantastic. But just imagine when they all go out, as they did for Carlos Sainz in 1995.
Here's hoping Gilles Panizzi doesn't try to change any lights. He fell off a ladder in his house last year, got hurt, ruined his chances at the championship. No problems for Colin McRae. The Scot was blisteringly quick and enjoyed the Citroen experience at night. Marcus Grönholm finished the day as the overnight leader. A job well done by the world champ.
Oikein helppo jäätä. Jatkuu oikein helppo.
Sebastian Loeb was keen not to be outdone by his new teammate.
La sortie, 60 mètres glace, droite 90 plus glace, ouvre. Ouvre.
And despite that spin, the Frenchman equaled McRae's time. At the end, everyone was upbeat about the day.
Must be very happy with today's work, though.
Yeah, this one was really difficult. I think if somebody's taking risk, maybe Loeb, he can really catch me a lot.
How did it go?
I did not want to take too much risk because it's very difficult to stay on the road. You have a lot of gravel, and I didn't want to take too much risk. We have two days to go, and I drive a little bit carefully, but well too.
Happy with the start, and then the last 2 stages before this one weren't so good, but not bad.
At the end of day 1, Marcus Grönholm has a healthy lead, but Loeb's in a great position to attack, with the British drivers McRae and Burns right behind him. Still outside the points, however, is Skoda's new wheelman, Didier Auriol, and with his take on the day, here's Nicky Grist.
There's a lot of skating going on down here, but there was far more skating going on in the special stages today. We've had an absolute belter of an opening day. I mean, who could have predicted what was going to happen? Marcus Grönholm on the ice and snow absolutely blistered everybody. Tremendous confidence and great driving style. But Sebastian Loeb, his closest challenger, only 20 seconds behind. If it's going to be dry for day 2, which I believe it's going to be a real cracker tomorrow. Something to look forward to.
All right, Nikki, thanks. Day 2 is up next, and it should be just as thrilling. We're right back with more of the Rallye Monte Carlo right after this.
At the end of the first day, Marcus Grönholm led the Rally of Monte Carlo. But hot on the heels of Marcus Grönholm were the two Citroens of Sebastian Loeb and Colin McRae. And really, those are the cars to look out for today, particularly as Sebastian Loeb is just 20 seconds behind the world champion. But you know, anything can happen here. With such changeable weather conditions, the leaderboard can change. Anything can happen, as we saw yesterday when the two Subarus of Tommy Mäkinen and Petter Solberg both crashed out on the same stage. So today we're set for masses more action and loads more drama.
That's the seat to have at a rally. Why are Marcus Grönholm and Sebastian Loeb in a class of their own? Here's Nikki.
Let's analyse day 1. Marcus Grönholm exceptionally quick on the snow and ice, whereas Sebastian Loeb was very, very quick on the dry stages. Let's analyse them on one particular condition. Here we have Sebastian Loeb braking hard on the dry tarmac. He's coming onto the ice, no throttle, very steady, understeering, gets to the dry tarmac and he's accelerating away. Whereas Marcus Grönholm, flipping the throttle, you can hear the wastegate chattering. Broadside there, bit of handbrake, sideways and throttle and he's away. Must be a second quicker alone there. And here we go, Sebastian Loeb again, nice and steady, keeping the car balanced and just steering through the snow and ice. Marcus Grönholm, though, look at this. I mean, he's broadside, look, throw it into that corner, full throttle, he's enjoyed himself. 41 seconds quicker on that stage alone. But it's Sebastian Loeb in the dry, totally committed. Today, the stages are going to be dry. If he's on slicks, look out, Marcus Grönholm. We collected the telemetry from Petter Solberg's car last night. Let's analyse his accident. This is stage 5, a very quick stage with a lot of slippy patches. Just listen to the pace notes from Phil Mills, ice and gravel crew.
30, big cut, slippy, 4 left. Into 5 right, opens. Caution, 80, unseen, 1 left bus, half long, tightens, slippy exit.
Remember, he's on a racing tyre here, and in these conditions, it makes it very, very tricky. You can see the standing water. He's coming into the corner here. Understeering, no chance, straight into the trees and the railings. Let's just take a look at the damage.
Go up there and turn up there.
Thanks, Nikki. Well, Monte Carlo has always been a popular rally with the fans, but the opening stage of day 2 became a victim of its own success. So many people packed the roadsides, the first stage was canceled. Not good news for those chasing the leaders.
Colin, what's it going to take to get back on terms with Sebastian and Marcus today?
It's difficult. This stage has been cancelled now as well, which was a stage that you could have pulled a bit of time on because of the ice, but I don't think it's possible. You know, just sort of protect the position, to keep on trying for sure and stay out of trouble and see what happens.
20-second lead is not a massive lead. All it'll take is one spin and you could take the lead of the rally.
Yes, sure, but I can make a spin too, so we have to be very concentrated and not make a mistake.
Marcus, you got Sebastian Loeb just 20 seconds behind you. It's going to be a big fight today.
We will see, yes. I think he will catch me, but how much, I don't know.
Stage 8, an old start from years gone by. The inexperienced crews won't have pace notes for this particular piece of road. Very quick initially, then some great hairpin bends uphill. It then joins a stage from 2002, the stage where Sebastian Loeb was exceptionally quick last year. I've been told it's 95% dry, very little ice and snow. They're on slick tyres. I think it's going to be Sebastian Loeb's day. It's Rallye Monte Carlo.
First up on the day was Gilles Panizzi. The asphalt ace, who's normally vying for the #1 spot on the black stuff, was deep in the back of the pack. The Peugeot is usually so good on this stuff because of the short wheelbase. On the dry asphalt, the Peugeot is very quick to respond. And of course, Panizzi is just spectacular on the dry asphalt. However, it wasn't the Peugeot, it was Panizzi himself who was suffering with low blood pressure, leaving the Frenchman feeling pretty sick. You can see it in his eyes. Didier Auriol is settling in well with his new team, Skoda. Former world champ is no stranger to success in Monte Carlo. He claimed a hat trick of wins in the 90s and was expertly guiding his big white Octavia through the stage. Armin Schwartz's accent was still well off the pace. Possibly Hyundai's lack of preseason testing having something to do with that. On board now with Ford's new star of the future, Francois Duval. The young Belgian is no stranger to the Monte. He won this event last season for the Mark, driving a Puma in the Junior World Rally Championship. This Ford Focus that we're riding with is the 2002 variation of the car. The 2003 version will debut soon, and it will be the first car designed by technical director Christian Loriot, who joined the team back in 2002. The car will actually debut at the Rally New Zealand, and in back-to-back preseason tests, it was faster than the 2002 car. That testing was done in Spain. Ford teammate Marco Martin struggled with the flu bug, but battled on bravely on the tight and twisty test and against the elements. As he hurled the Focus around the classic mountain roads, the young Estonian looked more at home on today's drier asphalt. Now he's strapped in alongside Richard Burns.
Fast left minus low. To medium left, the medium left minus damp. 20k right, damp. From here to slow K right 10, fast left, 30 ice, fast right plus an open ice. 80k left plus long.
The fire is yet to ignite on this event for Richard Burns, and stage 8 was no exception. Having Carlos Sainz breathing down his neck wasn't helping. Finally, the Spaniard's determination paid off. He scorched past Burns to take 4th overall. Colin McRae and Derek Ringer were running hard. The Scot was on a charge. Listen in to Derek guide Colin through the stage.
4 right minus, don't cut, and very long left, tight to 3 plus, and 2 right plus. Slow 3 left, don't cut, 30, slippy braking, right, and right tight to 2 caution ice, don't cut.
Upon arrival at the end, he had set the fastest time so far.
3 left plus line and 2.
Still to come, though, is Sebastian Loeb. On slicks and in the dry, this young Frenchman's tough to beat.
Droite 90 plus long. Droite 90 plus long sur gauche 120 moins mi-long. Gauche 120 moins mi-long, 150 mètres. Au panneau, gauche 133 moins léger coulé glace, frein pour droite sans plus, pas corde. Au panneau, gauche 133 moins léger coulé glace, frein pour droite sans plus, pas corde. Et gauche 115, ferme sans, pas corde. Ok.
5.6 seconds faster. Suddenly, Marcus Grönholm's lead didn't look so comfortable. The world champ was next up into the stage. As always, super quick and super cool. The Iceman chased down the Citroen. Let's see how the Peugeot compares.
Vasen eri ja oikein nopea. 4, vaseri tiukka.
Peugeot, by the way, is already working on a replacement for the 206, the
ja oikein
307.
nopea, kivi sisällä. 7 ja vasen piru pitkä, nopea, kirraa.
Grönholm was nearly 8 seconds slower than Loeb. Now he had a fight on his hands. With just 12 seconds separating Loeb and Grönholm, the Peugeot driver must surely feel that lead slipping through his fingers. Here's Nicky to break it down on the virtual spectator.
On On Virtual Spectator, we have proof of Loeb's dominance on asphalt over his Monte rival, Gronholm. At the end of stage 8, Sebastian is over the finish line with Gronholm a fair way behind. Look, Loeb just under 8 seconds quicker here.
Back at service in the center of Monte Carlo, it was clear Benizzi was too sick to continue.
We decided for him to withdraw because he's sick. He's sick since yesterday. It's both moral and physical. I think that he has been completely amazed by the 1 minute penalty he's been given because of the GPS problem he had during the recce. Then he started really being sick, trembling, maybe kind of virus or something like this.
Marco Martin also consulted with his doctor.
Didn't have a very good night last night. It's not much sleep and some I don't know, something with my stomach. It's not feeling very well and not much sort of energy in my body. It's quite difficult to drive.
Marcus, are you at all worried about that big attack from Sebastian Loeb on the last stage?
No, I'm not worried. Okay, he seems to catch me, but okay, I will try to do my best and try to stay there in contact, but we will see.
I made a very good drive in the last stage. It was nearly dry, just some places with a little ice, but not. They were good conditions for the Xara and for me, and it's a stage I know a little bit, so I tried to push at the maximum to catch Gronholm, and we made a very good time, so I'm happy.
One guy who's been quietly up front for the entire rally is Colin McRae. When we return, we'll hear from him on his decision to leave the Big Blue Oval fourth. Welcome back to the Rallye Monte Carlo, where Colin McRae is enjoying a competitive run with his new team. Since Colin McRae first burst onto the World Rally scene in 1993, he's become synonymous with pushing himself and the machine to the limit. A man of action on and off the rallies, the 34-year-old Scot has hopes of regaining his 95 World Championship title with his new team, Citroen.
I desperately want to win the championship again, but there's no more pressure to do so. You know, I've done it once. It would be nice to do it again for sure, and that's the plan. But there's no extra pressure to do that. I think every year at the moment it gets tougher and tougher. There's certainly more drivers, more cars capable of winning. It's the regulations now. The World Rally Car regulation makes it very, very close competition. There's a lot of young drivers coming in as well, so for sure there's more competition than there was back in '95, and it is tougher.
Since 1995, McRae has been chasing his second title, but despite the long wait, he still has a drive for success.
I think anyone at this level's got that. You've got to win. That's why we're all there. We all want to win, and you've got to genuinely want to win. I would be disappointed if I didn't win it again, but it wouldn't be a disaster. You know, I've put my best into it. I think if at the end of it all, when you retire or you stop at this level, as long as you can look back and say you gave it your best and it didn't happen, then I'd be quite happy with that. But it would be nice just to have the world title again before the end of it all.
Get used to this.
After much publicized split with former co-driver Nicky Grist, can Colin recreate the winning magic of '95 with Derek Ringer?
Certainly hope so. It's never easy making a fairly big change, and that is quite a big change to change navigator, even to go back to somebody that you have a lot of experience with. It still takes quite a lot of fine-tuning just to get that wee bit of magic that you had before. But I'm quite confident that'll happen. Again, Derek's desperate to be there. He wants to win. He wants to do the best job he can, and as long as that's the situation, then everybody can work together and it'll happen.
Coming to a relatively new team, which has already tasted success, presents Colin with a new set of challenges.
It's always exciting when you change team, but I think Citroen is a very, very big change for me. It's a new team. It's working with a different mentality, and it's a team that are very, very keen to win the championship, and there's an awful lot of support there right from the very top, and it's looking very good.
A few of Monte Carlo's famous Formula One residents dropped in to check out their hometown rally this weekend. Juan Pablo Montoya from the Williams team talked shop at Peugeot. And British American Racing's brand new driver, Jenson Button, who liked what he saw at his first ever WRC.
This is the first time I've ever seen a rally car live, so it's pretty exciting. But no, it was good to see. It's good to come down here and experience the other Formula. I love driving anything quick. Tarmac I'd stick to that, and gravel I think I'd be useless. And it looks, it's pretty exciting, and it's just amazing what they do, through the little villages and what have you. They're pretty impressive drivers.
Stage 9, very fast initially, climbs over the top of the col, and then a twisty descent on ice and snow. A very demanding stage around this point in 2001, Panizzi crashed out in the snow. Very twisty downhill, demanding on suspension and brakes. A very spectacular narrow gorge towards the end of the stage, but now on dry tarmac. Again, I think Sebastian Loeb's going to be taking time out of Marcus.
The crews entered the 19-mile stage knowing that they were about to face the worst conditions of the day. Some must have wondered if they'd survive. These treacherous conditions were tough on one driver, 22-year-old Mikko Hirvonen. He was chasing Freddie Loix, but away from our cameras, the young Finn rolled. Freddie Loix has had more than his fair share of dramatic exits, so taking care of the Belgian tiptoed over the icy surface. Hyundai's got troubles as well. Financially, that is. They were supposed to replace their sponsor, Castrol, with Shell. Unfortunately, that deal has not been completed just yet, so the money is getting tight for the Korean car manufacturer. No testing, and possibly no cars at the rally in Sweden. Hang on. Freddie's rally is over. There was no lack of commitment from Marcus Grunholm. Feeling the pressure from Loeb, he knew the ice would suit him best. Not this time, however. That brush with the mountain meant the world champ had to stop in the stage to take a look, and precious seconds would tick away. Co-driver Timo Rautiainen, Grunholm's brother-in-law, out to take a look on the co-driver's side. Back in, buckled up and underway once again, but they would have to stop again and make emergency repairs to the wheel. They completed the full 19 miles of the stage, but their time was over 55 minutes, unheard of for the world champ. Talk about unruly race fans. Look at these guys pelting the Peugeot with snowballs. That's ridiculous. Teammate Richard Burns' rally was also going from bad to worse. An incorrect tire choice and wrong suspension setup cost him precious seconds. Have a look at his pace. Richard came into this rally just hoping for a 4th or 5th place finish, a few points, and move on to Sweden. He doesn't think Monte Carlo suits his driving style.
20 fast left, 40, medium right, to medium left long.
Look how tentative he is through the corners. Not really pushing it. Now watch Colin McRae through the same section. Listen to how much more aggressive he is with the throttle. Visibly quicker.
right and 2 left plus tightens there.
Marco Martin was faster too, and he moved ahead of Burns. Remember the Monte last year? This was one of the closest calls we've ever seen. Roman Cresta left hanging over the edge, but he's back in 2003 and having a blast driving a privateer Peugeot. Another crew enjoying a switch to a new machine was Carlos Sainz and Marc Marti. They were second quickest on the stage.
Puente no cortar, abrirse, acaba patina, buena, se cierra para uno. Izquierda buena corta, se cierra no cortar, Cesar para derecha.
Carlos was a Spanish squash champion at the age of 16.
Buena corta para izquierda, izquierda acá, se cierra no cortar.
Even thought about becoming a lawyer and actually did 2 years of law school.
Calienta corta, se cierra para derecha, abrirse, derecha calienta corta.
Sebastian Loeb picked his spots where to be aggressive and when to be smart. Smooth through this section here, but he was the quickest through the stage. Check out the concentration in Sebastian's eyes. During the 2001 season, Sebastian was sponsored by Jean-Pierre Champeau. Champeau's son Marc was second in points behind Philippe Bugalski in the French Championship back in 1999 when he was killed while preparing for the Rallye du Mont Blanc. Champeau went on to honor his son by helping other up-and-coming drivers. He saw something in Sebastian, and he was right. Lots of changes at the top. Grunholm's wheel drama drops him out of the points while Loeb cruises into the lead. But there is a lot of rallying yet to go. Stay tuned right here on the home of the World Rally Championship, Speed. Marcus Grunholm made it to the start of Monte Carlo Stage 10, but he was so late he was given a 2-minute time penalty. His lead was destroyed. Take a look at the front wheel wobbling precariously on the Peugeot. You have to be impressed with Marcus the mechanic. His emergency repairs are so good, he set an amazing 4th quickest time.
Kolme ja vasen hidas takavino. 3 ja oikein nopea ahdas. 3 oikein hidas takavino. 4 ja vasen pitkä nopea kirraa sumppuun. 7 ja oikein nopea.
Peugeot was the last French manufacturer to win the Monte Carlo Rally back in 1985. Still battling on, Didier Auriol must be relishing his return to the WRC. His Octavia beat Richard Burns on this final stage of the day. Peugeot's test driver, Cedric Robert, is a regular in the French Championship and has driven this stage many times. It showed he was 6th overall. Richard Burns continued to have tough tire choices. The British driver has got no chance of winning the rally, but if he holds on to his position, he'll be the top finishing Peugeot.
80, easy left, 20, hairpin left. To flat right, 60. Hairpin right, 40.
Despite his pre-rally reservations, Marco Martin was going well. Ford will be more than pleased with the Estonian's grit and determination that saw him finish the day in 4th when within sight of Carlos Sainz.
3 plus right narrow, 30, 4 left close, 3 right slow, 40, 6 right, 5 left, go 50, 3 plus left, 40.
Citroen have showed they mean business. Just 4 stages separate them from a historic podium sweep. Third is currently occupied by Carlos Sainz. Doesn't look like the Spaniard is missing his pal Moya. El Matador stormed through the stage with the winning time. Luck hasn't always been on Colin McRae's side at the Monte, and he'll need a lot of it if he has any chance of catching Loeb and taking the win. The Scot has said his confidence with the Tsar is growing all the time, so you never know what he might pull off.
3 left, lane, and right, tightens to 3 plus. Into 3 left, opens.
As for Loeb, he hasn't stumbled all weekend. Perhaps he senses the victory that was taken away from him last year will be his this year.
Droite 120 bon et gauche 120 bon, sur attention 30 mètres, droite 100 plus. Droite 100 plus, sur gauche 130 moins. Gauche 130 moins, sur attention, droite 100 et gauche 80 plus, le long sec.
The dry conditions suit him best, and he's hoping for more on leg 3.
Droite 80 moins et gauche 120 moins. Gauche 120 moins, sur droite 100 plus. Droite 100 plus, attention, gauche 80.
It's a healthy lead for Loeb, and McRae looks pretty safe in second. Citroen's only worry is whether Marco Martin can catch his old teammate Sainz. It's unfamiliar territory for Marcus Grönholm. The world champ is near the bottom of the leaderboard.
Marcus, when rallying bites, it bites hard. What happened?
No, it was 6 kilometers from the start, or when the snow part started. It's very bad downhill, and just skiing. It was no car control anymore. It was with the slicks on this kind of surface.
It's one of these rallies that's never over till you're over the finish ramp at the end. So we just have to wait and see. But everything looks good at the moment. No problems. So.
Are you happy to be leading?
Yes, I'm happy. It was a very good fight with Marcus, and now we made a mistake, so we are in first from the rally. Yes.
Still difficult day tomorrow with Turini in the morning, which always bring some surprises. I hope everything's going well.
Would you expect tomorrow the Citroen management to tell Colin and Carlos not to push you too hard? We have to hold 1, 2, 3 for Citroen.
You have to ask Mr. Frecklin. It's not my decision.
Are you going to tell Colin and Carlos not to push Sebastian tomorrow?
Yeah, you know the situation. It's not so easy because Martin is very close from Carlos, and I think we need to keep a good speed for the first lap tomorrow morning, and then we'll see after.
What a day we've had today. Marcus Grönholm so dominant in the ice and snow and actually sliding off and damaging his suspension on the very same conditions. I spoke to him. He told me that he took a very hard tyre, so perhaps you can understand why. But it's all about these guys, Citroen, 1, 2 and 3 at the end of this day. I spoke to Colin about team orders. Are there going to be any? He tells me they're going to push hard for the first 2 stages. If they're comfortable, then they'll cruise to the end. What a remarkable start to their championship if they could pull it off.
Day 3 should be interesting, Nikki. Both Loeb and McRae have a lot to prove, but for Colin, the infamous cold day Turini hasn't been kind. Day 3 coming up next on Speed Channel. The Col de Turini is one of the oldest and most famous stages in the World Rally Championship. Anybody who is good at rallying has fought their way through here. It's also a great party atmosphere packed with spectators. With more in the final leg, here's Penny and Nikki.
So day 3 of the Monte Carlo rally starts with 3 Citroens hogging the first 3 places. Sebastian Loeb leads over Colin McRae and Carlos Sainz, but there's loads more action to come.
This year's stage, the same as usual. 22 kilometres of twisting corners all the way to the Col. 5Ks from the top, I've been told, you go on to snow and ice. But soon as you pass over the top, the downhill is totally dry. Long, open hairpin corners. Very, very tight, some of them, but load the tyres. If anybody has taken a soft compound for the snow, it's going to make the steering very difficult towards the end.
Thanks, guys. Once again, the Col de Turini promises to be worthy of its reputation. First to venture into the stage was Marcus Grönholm, with over half an hour separating him from the leaders. The best he could hope for was to score some manufacturer's points for his team. He launched his 206 into the stage with the kind of commitment that earned him the world title. Set the time for the others to beat. on this rally, but he wasn't setting any records in his Skoda debut. He was almost a minute off of Grönholm's pace. Hyundai's lack of preseason testing meant they were trying to find the right setup on the car while on the stage. But after 2 full days of competition, Armin Schwartz was still struggling to squeeze anything else out of the car.
Immediate left 3 shot minus into right 2 to 3.
Ford's Francois Duval admitted that he was intimidated by this rally, and he had every right to be. His only previous experience here was in the Junior World Rally Championship, but the view from the front of his car shows he's more than capable of handling the Focus. This is Roman Cresta's first ever outing in a Peugeot 206. On unfamiliar stages in a year-old car, you've got to be impressed by the Czech driver's performance. He beat Oriol, Schwartz, and Burns on this stage. Burns was still off the pace in his full-spec Peugeot. Marco Martin started the morning determined to knock Carlos Sainz off the podium. There's nothing Ford's new team leader would relish more than to beat his old teammate. As he approached the end of the stage, Marcus Grönholm was still the man to beat. Check out Marco's time on the right.
Left tightens to 2 minus here. Plus 28 to Marcus at the call.
All that really mattered to Martin was what Carlos Sainz would do.
Izquierda rápido, corta, abrirse corto, izquierda acá, izquierda poco, para 1. Derecha, bravo, corta, frenando, acaba derecha caliente, izquierda poco, se abre. Para izquierda, abrirse, frenando, izquierda media más.
Carlos has only missed the podium 3 times in 14 attempts here at the Monte. Over 10 seconds down to Martin, his 3rd place was on the line. Same car, different style. Colin McRae onto the mountain.
Full right plus open, 100. 2 left plus open the wall. Right left plus.
The Scot makes driving one of the most difficult roads in rallying look easy, smashing Marcus's time. Last up was Sebastian Loeb. He was the only Citroen fitted with studded tires. It gave him the edge on the top of the col, but he wasn't as fast as Colin, who won the stage. Loeb, however, is still over a minute ahead of McRae, so his lead should be safe. Citroen's biggest concern now is Marco Martin, who is closing in on Carlos. More from the Monte coming up. With no time to rest at the Rally Monte Carlo's Col de Torini, the crew's headed straight for the morning's 2nd stage, when tossed. Despite a brand new route from the start, no one was anticipating any real problems in the stage. Once more, it was Grönholm who was the first to attack. He covered the 12.5 miles in just over 15 minutes. It wasn't long before his time was beaten. Nobody wants brake problems when there's a succession of hairpins looming ahead, but Didier Oriol rose to the challenge. In fact, he finishes the stage a full half a minute quicker than Grönholm.
Sur léger droite à fond, sur gauche à fond, un peu vers là, sur attention droite en plus poteau.
Quicker still was Armin Schwartz. Linson in as co-driver Manfred Heimer calls out the turns.
Okay, left 4 long. Into right 4 short. 60 core, K right 1. In left 5 minus. Immediate. Okay, left 1. Into right 4. 30 left 2 to 3. 40. K right 1. In left 4,
Notice how he reaches down to the right to grab the handbrake to swing the rear end around?
K left 1, open 4.
Right there.
Right 2 to 3 long minus.
He was 8th and on track to pick up a point. In 7th was Francois Duval. Ford's confidence in this 22-year-old Belgian seemed to be paying off. Stage by stage, it seemed he was growing in that confidence. He blasted through the stage in just over 14 minutes. Chasing him into the stage was Richard Burns. He's consistently been off the pace this weekend, but at least on this stage, he did beat his teammate and fiercest rival, Marcus Grunholm.
Hairpin left. 30. Left long. 60. Hairpin right. Tight.
Marco Martin still had a ways to go if he was going to catch Carlos Sainz. With a 30-second gap between them, he couldn't afford to let up the throttle on the stage. He was fast, very fast. He finished the stage in 14 minutes and 9 seconds. Carlos's podium finish was in danger. Brake problems didn't help. Sainz battled on desperately, trying to hang on to his lead, knowing he couldn't afford to be anything more than 30 seconds slower than Martin. He was to hold on to third place. His heart must have been pounding as he crossed the finish line. It wasn't enough. Martin knows 7 seconds ahead, and for now, third was his. No stage win this time for Colin McRae, but the only thing that Scott had to do to hold on to second was to stay on the road. Was last through the stage. He was only 7th fastest, but he'd already done enough to give himself a healthy lead and the luxury of taking it easy. Bad news for Sainz as Martin moves into third, but with just 8 seconds between them, Carlos still had a shot.
Carlos, was that a tyre choice that went wrong?
The tyre choice was perfect. I have just a broken wheel bearing, and in Turini, in the downhill, I lost one brake pad, and then the tyre was moving and no brakes. So at the end of Turini, I have to repair it.
Is it a question of a compromise, a bit of strategy to get a faster time on the second stage of those two?
For sure, it's a compromise because it's 2 different stages to do, and you have to choose the tyre which is fastest overall, not just on one stage.
Francois, you must be very happy with that second place on stage 12.
Yes, it's a very good choice, the tyres. The stage is no problem. No, the stylet and the imping. No, it's very good for me, no problem.
Some people thought Ford had taken a huge chance with such young drivers, not the team boss.
Yeah, they've done a great job, I think. But I think the team also did a fantastic job with the tyre choice. But no, I mean, for Marco to now move up to third and Francois move into a position where he's fourth manufacturer, and no real threat from behind, then obviously quite pleased.
Will Marco Martin be Nicky Grist's star of the rally? Find out after the break when we bring you the climax to the WRC Monte Carlo. Welcome back to Monte Carlo, where Citroen are going for a historic win. Now, before we get back to the action, Nicky Grist takes a look at why Citroen is so strong.
Monte Carlo is the debut event in Citroen's first full championship year, and it's been a stunning start. They've not put a foot wrong so far, but with their previous competition experience, it's not surprising. They are the only team that can claim to make every component in the car, yet despite this good start, they are not counting their chickens just yet.
The general feeling of the team is to be quite humble about the things happening. It's the first year for us competing in all the championships. the first event. Another 13 events are following, and we need to get the speed to follow the championship correctly.
The team have years of experience in their chief chassis engineer, Jean-Claude Vaucard. He designed the awesome Peugeot 205 T16. They have also drafted in Colin and Carlos, who have 49 rally victories between them.
It's nice to have these two guys. They have a good experience and they have the same opinion of what to do on the car. So we know that we go in the right way when we work, and we don't lose time in bad ways.
I think it's very good also for Sebastian, because he can learn very quickly with Carlos and Colin, and it's very important also for us to improve the car for the future.
The rest of the manufacturers can breathe a sigh of relief, as Citroen are not ready to dominate like Peugeot did last year.
We have to improve the car on gravel. We are working a lot, but I think we need 2 or 3 months more to be at a better level.
Watch this space. We know they are quick on asphalt, but if they perform on gravel as well, then the rally world can look out. From our course car cams, let us check the condition of the snowy section of Turini after the car's first passage. The picture on the left is before the crews had passed, and on the right it's present condition. As you can see, the earlier runs has swept the snow aside and the wet tarmac tracks are appearing. This can help the driver to get more grip if they're on slicks, but with the extra speed, if they get out of these tracks, it could easily cause them problems.
If it wasn't for a small collision with a mountainside on day 2, Marcus Grunholm might be leading this rally, but it wasn't to be. And ironically, the man who was the most outspoken about the new point system was one of the first to benefit, as he took 1 manufacturer's point for Peugeot. Didier Auriol must have been hoping Armin Schwartz might slip up and hand over the first of the driver's points.
Gauche humide, sur droite 5 plus sec, sur gauche 5 plus humide, sur droite à fond sec, sur gauche, sur droite à fond. Et sur 40 mètres, frein, attention, droite 5, attention au rail, 5, attention au rail.
The German's been consistently quicker this weekend, however, and that wasn't about the change. 8th place and 1 point was a just reward for the great effort. He might only be 22 years old, but Francois Duval drove like a seasoned veteran. Again, he was in the top 3 for the stage, and Ford must be thrilled with the investment in their future. Next up, it's Ford's other rising star, Marco Martin. Can he hold off the experience of Carlos Sainz for the final podium spot? Stay tuned to find out.
A standard road-going Ford Focus has 1 onboard computer, but on a Ford Focus rally car, you have 2 computers. The engine management computer is the cost of a road-going Ford Focus itself. This high-tech bit of material here controls turbo, it controls the timing, the fuel, the traction control system, a high-tech piece of kit. The second computer is even smarter. This one at $20,000 controls the transmission system. The driver can set it up to help him drive the car so much easier, but also gets the power on the road when it's needed. Absolutely vital to the engineers is the data logging system. This 32 meg memory card records absolutely everything about engine and also another one for the transmission system. Both the driver and the co-driver have one of these displays, and if required, during a special stage, they can monitor all the information. When the engineer gets the memory card, he can download all the information into his computer and analyze the data.
That's great, Nicky. Now if you can just give us a download so we can all make our PlayStation cars a little bit quicker. If Marco Martin and his Focus can just make it to the end of this rally with no troubles, he'll be on the podium.
4 left long.
The treacherous conditions proved once again that nothing can be taken for granted on the Monte. The big question was how much would that dice with the ice cost him?
4 left long.
decided on what Carlos Sainz could do.
Derecha buena, Marco, corta, frenando, acaba derecha, derecha calentar. Se cierra poco, se abre, para izquierda abrirse, frenando, izquierda media más, poco tarde.
El Matador rose to the challenge, setting the fastest time on the stage and taking 5 seconds out of Marco's lead.
Justo empezar la bajada.
Colin McRae knows only too well that the Col de Turini is a dangerous place. Many times the Scots suffered on the top of this mountain, but not this time. 4th fastest on the stage and poised for 2nd overall.
3 right minus opens, and right, and 3 left minus, and 6 left into slow, 4 right tightens.
Sebastian Loeb is experienced enough to know that when you've got a healthy lead, it's not worth taking any risks. He went carefully through the stage, knowing he's just a few miles away from a Monte Carlo win.
Les humides extérieurs, kilomètre 70 slow, et droite 146, faire une 90 à la maison. Droite 146, faire une 90 à la maison, et gauche très léger humide pour 40 mètres, gauche 50 épingles, pas corde. Ok.
Plus 15 au col.
Ouais. Citroen pour Daniel, spécial terminé.
For Sebastian Loeb, a Monte Carlo win will mean a lot, not just because it's on his home turf, but of course he has that score to settle from last year. In 2002, Sebastian Loeb actually won the rally in Monte Carlo on stage times. But at the service at the end of day 2, the team illegally changed his tire, and through no fault of his own was awarded a 1-minute penalty. Running the last day under protest, he actually took all the trophies at the award giving in Monte Carlo. The following week, they lost their appeal, and the win and the trophies went to Tommy Mäkinen. No dramas for Loeb like last year so far, but how much can he afford to back off? How much will Colin McRae push from behind? Welcome back to the battleground for the 3rd and final day of Rally Monte Carlo. Right now, it's Marco Martin versus Carlos Sainz, a fight of youth and experience. Martin, growing in confidence and stature throughout his Monte Michelin debut, went into the final stage with just a 3-second cushion ahead of the Spaniard. He hustled his focus around the tricky test, but wasn't enough to hold on to the podium spot. Up next was Sainz. The Spaniard clearly had his elbows up.
Para derecha buena mano corta, de izquierda caliente se cierra, dando mucho las armas, derecha media más, cierra mano.
Nearly 7 seconds faster than Martin. A memorable drive from Sainz, ensuring that he was 3rd and that Citroen claimed a clean sweep of the podium. Colin McRae wasn't giving an inch either, still flying and gunning for glory. The Scot finished in 2nd on his dazzling debut for the French mark.
Okay, stop. Okay, that should be a good start to the year.
Colin for Michelle and Ian and all Citroen team. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you very much. It was a great first rally for me. Hopefully we can repeat this in the future many times. Thank you.
But it was Sebastian Loeb who cruised to a stunning victory. He didn't care about his 7th quickest time. He knew the win and the maximum 10 points were his. Now the celebrations could begin. Viva le Loeb!
100 mètres, gauche 30 épingles. Et droite à fond sur attention, gauche 124 freins pour droite, 30 épingles ouvre. Attention, gauche 124 freins pour droite, 30 épingles ouvre. Ok.
I'm happy and very happy because we made a nice rally and we didn't make any mistake, and that was very important because we had some very difficult conditions.
What a performance by Citroen. It's a historic 1-2-3 sweep for the French mark. Disappointment in the end for Marco Martin and for Peugeot, who end the rally with only 1 car in the top 8. Can you believe it? The other entry, Marcus Grönholm, ends a rally in 13th. He'll be hoping that's the end of his bad luck for the season.
Second last stage we spun and lost quite a lot of time there, and that just put Carlos too close to us, and on the last stage it was just too fast for us.
Carlos, a terrific way to get onto the podium to beat Marco Martin in a thrilling battle.
Yeah, finally, we got it back. I'm really very happy about the last two stages. I think we tried very hard. It was not easy conditions with the ice. Very easy to make a mistake, and finally we managed. So I'm very happy.
Well, congratulations, an absolutely terrific debut with Citroen.
Magic, yeah. I mean, for me, it was a great result, but for the team, absolutely tremendous. They all did a great job and got the job right for 3 days.
Sebastian, a sweet, sweet victory after last year.
Yeah, sure. Last year it was difficult to accept the decision because we were thinking we won the Monte Carlo, and this year it's for the first time a real win in the Monte Carlo Rally, and it was a very difficult race. Some snow, some ice, and to finish this rally in the first place is very funny.
I'm very happy for everybody, for the team, for the driver, for the co-driver. Everybody do a job fantastic.
Sebastian Loeb starts the new season sitting on top of the world. At the other end of the table, 8th place Armin Schwartz gets 1 point. And in the Manufacturers' Championship with a clean sweep of the top 3, Citroen dominates the top of that leaderboard with Peugeot all the way back in 3rd. Now with their take on the rally, here's Penny Mallory and Nikki Grist.
So we have a winner of the Monte Carlo Rally, and as we said 3 days ago, Nikki, anything can happen here, and it did. Take Subaru, for example.
It's been an absolute classic event. I mean, poor old Subaru, they came with a new car. It worked well, Petter promised a lot, but it all went wrong on the same stage.
But what's so unbelievable is that Petter Solberg and Toby Mäkinen both went out on the same stage within 20 seconds of each other.
So unfortunate, but that's rallying, and it's a Monte Carlo.
Anything can happen, as we said. Now, let's work through the teams for a start. Ford. Marco Martin drove a spectacularly good rally, didn't he? Made some brilliant tyre choices.
Absolutely. I think he could have fared better in the end, though. He was very unfortunate the second time over Turini. But I was also quite impressed with Duval. He started slowly, struggled a little bit, but he came strong towards the end, and I think we're going to get some great results from that lad.
He did well to recover after wiping the back end of his car out on that tree, didn't he?
I thought it was retirement instantly. So lucky.
Now let's look at Peugeot. For once, their best result was 5th overall. They're getting horribly complacent about winning, and they're turning into pretty bad losers, because I've been over to Peugeot and they're not pleased with their performance here.
They're not, but I think they've never performed well here, and they're obviously going to be looking forward to the gravel and the snow events now, I'm sure.
Yeah, they just haven't got a good history here, have they?
No.
Tell you who's done well. Hyundai have just snuck into the points. They finished 8th, so they get a point for that. Not bad going.
No, they've struggled a little bit. They didn't do a pre-event test. They did all their testing as they went along on the stages, so you can expect them to be down the leaderboard a little.
Now, a French team winning the Monte Carlo Rally is something very special, isn't it?
Yes.
We've got a French driver in a French car in Monte Carlo, and a top 3 for Citroen.
It's an absolute dream debut. Speaking to some of the guys, I don't think they're counting their chickens just yet. I mean, we all expected them to dominate on the tarmac, but it's going to be the next round in Sweden and the gravel events to come. We'll have to wait and see if they can dominate any more.
So Sebastian Loeb at last can celebrate a true win here. Brilliant result for Colin McRae, his best result ever here, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, performed very, very well and had a good solid performance in the new car, new team, getting used to it all. Yeah, he's performed very well and was very competitive at the end against Loeb, who had the more experience in the car.
I know, that's right. So it kind of justifies the massive investment they've made into the World Championship this year, doesn't it? How are they going to fare in Sweden?
We'll have to wait and see. I think it's a difficult one. It's new to Sebastian Loeb. I don't expect him to perform well, but I'm sure they've been working very, very hard and they're out to impress. We'll have to wait and see.
It's going to be very exciting to see what happens in Sweden. We'll see you there.
You're right, Penny. Next up is a true rally classic. In just under 2 weeks' time, the World Rally Championship moves much further north to Sweden, the only true snow and ice event of the year. This is where Marcus Grönholm and Peugeot will be hoping to kickstart their 2003 campaign. Once again, Speed brings you all the action from the WRC. We lead up to Sweden with Rally XS, February 13th. Then it's the Tyre event from start to finish Saturday, February 15th. Before we leave Monte Carlo, we can't forget the Star of the Rally Award. At each event this season, Nikki Grist will choose the driver, co-driver, or team member who has contributed the most during the weekend. And of course, the winner in Monte Carlo has to be Sebastian Loeb, who drove brilliantly throughout. As well as a trophy, he receives a check for $5,000 to give to a charity of his choice. While Sebastian Loeb enjoys the moment, we wrap things up from Monte Carlo. For Penny Mallory and Nikki Grist, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Monte Carlo. Make sure you join us from the starting line in snowy Sweden.